Welcome back. I'm John Matthew Sadler, and I'm going to show you this game that I played against David Kleijn at the Haarlem weekend tournament in 2015, and that was inspired by the game we saw in the previous video, which was Lasker against Rubinstein. So I reached this position after 30 moves, and I played fairly well, but I'd kind of messed up my advantage. I had a very nice position, and then a few inaccuracies. My opponent played well, and I ended up in this position. And my opponent offered me a draw around this stage. Obviously, I didn't want to accept a draw. There's still lots of pieces on the board, so why shouldn't you play? But yeah, on the other hand, you've got to have an idea. I mean, what are you going to achieve? What I decided here, I really thought of this game, Lasker-Rubinstein, and I decided that just as in that game, White's first goal was to chase back the black rook on e4 with f2 to f3. I actually decided that I needed to nullify the very annoying pressure that black's queen had on f2. What I decided was that if I could get a position where I had a rook on g2 and my other rook was on g5, in other words, I'd just like to teleport my rook on g1 over to g5, then it would make a lot of things possible for me. I mean, that rook on g5 is very active. It defends the pawn on h5. I could achieve things if I managed to get that formation. So I decided that I couldn't work out how to do it immediately. So I decided that I would, just like Lasker, I would try manoeuvring left and right and try and achieve it. I was also hoping, of course, that my opponent wouldn't actually notice that. It's quite a subtle point. Unfortunately, well, I'm sure he noticed it, or if he didn't, then he did a fantastic job of playing coincidentally the right moves, because he made it very difficult for me. So I want to shift my rook from g1 to g5. But I mustn't lose my pawn on h5 on the way. So what I decided, first of all, I was going to tease a little bit with my queen. That was what I was going to do. First of all, I gave my my king an escape square. That's always handy. And now I defended the h5 pawn in a slightly unusual way. I mean, queen g4 sort of aims at d7. I mean, black's got to have a little think about it. He ignored it for the moment, and I played bishop e2. The idea simply is that rook takes h5, allows queen g3. I was wondering what would happen if black would play g6 and just try and liquidate all the kingside pawns. I was hoping that queen d7 would be something. I can tell you the computer's not particularly worried, but probably for a human that's a little bit of a worrying threat. What my opponent did was he offered the exchange of queens, and he went queen e6. I don't want to exchange off queens, but on the other hand, I was quite interested because I thought, ooh, he's abandoning pressure on the f2 pawn. That should mean that I should be able to get my rook to g5 and my other rook to g2. So I went queen f4 check, hoping for rook g5, but my opponent played queen d6. Very clever. If I play queen takes f7, then black plays rook f6, and well, that's the end of. That's really ruined my day, I can tell you. So I can't actually do that. But okay, I thought I'm just going to avoid the exchange of queens, and then hopefully we'll be able to get my rook to g5. Queen f5. My opponent offered the exchange of queens, and I went back to c2. What have I achieved here with all this manoeuvring? I mean, my queen's gone to g4, it's gone to f4 to f5, and now it's gone back to c2. Well, I've defended the pawn on h5 with my bishop, which is quite handy, and of course I've managed to draw away black's queen from f6. So I'm now looking for rook g5 and rook g2. But my opponent was alert, and he went rook f6. So I decided that I could still be a little bit clever, and I went bishop d1. And this was the setup that I'd thought of. I've got queen defending the pawn on f2. My bishop on d1 is covering the pawn on h5. So now, surely, I'm ready to play rook g5. Oh, my opponent was alert again. Queen f5. He offers the exchange of queens, and now he's lined up with 2 pieces on the f2 pawn. I'm not going to get my rook to g5 yet. What did I do? I thought of Lasker again, and I started manoeuvring a little bit. Queen c5, a teasing little move, maybe looking at e7. So black retreated his queen. He's able to do that because my queen on c5 obviously is no longer defending f2. And, well, I couldn't really think how to improve my position, so I just decided that I'd play a little waiting move. Wasn't completely sure I wanted my king on a2 in the long run, but, well, it doesn't ruin anything, does it, really? And I just thought, well, maybe black's going to do something that could give me a chance. And lo and behold, he did, just almost before move 40. Queen d6, offering the exchange of queens, a decent move, but now I play queen c2. And all of a sudden, I've achieved what I want. That last move, queen d6, means that black can no longer play queen f5, so he's got no way of putting additional pressure on the f2 pawn. And that means that I can get in rook g5 and rook g2. My only slight problem here was the time situation, because we reached move 40. I had a little bit of time left, but I only had 10 extra minutes and 10 seconds per move. There's not very much time to think about things, and my opponent took a very practical decision here. He started playing almost instantly, so he was giving me no time at all to think of a plan. And well, to be honest, I'm pretty proud about the way I played for quite a while. Funnily enough, it's basically pretty much when I'd got the job done. I still had enough time, really. That's when I started messing things up, unfortunately. But for a while, I did it pretty well. So he went rook e6, I went rook g5, bishop g4, just a little time-gaining move, you know, just trying to show that I'm a grandmaster and I really understand things. In actual fact, what I wanted to do was to bring the bishop to d3, covers g6 and stop black from getting free with g6. Was a tiny little bit worried about my pawn on h5. You know, I've got to watch out for f6. For the moment I can still defend with rook f5, but you know, well, I thought I needed my bishop there, so so what the hell, that's what you do. So rook e7, queen d1, and king c7. Do you remember that game Lasker-Rubinstein, in which Rubinstein decided that he was going to play king f7, king g8? Well, this is what my opponent decided as well. He was just going to wait, and he was going to play king b8, king c7 instantly. Strange, isn't it? It's really, when I saw it, I thought, my goodness me, you know, something's got to happen now. I've got to be just like Lasker and find a little flaw in that. It wasn't too easy though. I mean, I've got my ideal structure here with rook g2, rook g5, but how am I going to make any more progress? What I decided was, well, you can look at my pawn breaks. I could look for something like b4 and a4 and b5, but I think I'd rather have my rooks on the queen side if I was going to do that. What I did think was that I might be able to play f3 and e4. And the more I thought of it, the more I decided that certainly if black's got his king on c7, then king's just a little bit exposed. I might have extremely good chances if I can manage it. My position does get a little bit loose, of course, so it's not without risk. But you know, if I want to play for a win, then that's my very best chance. So well, I kept on. I mean, obviously, I didn't have time to really think about the plan very deeply. I didn't have very much time. So well, I started trying to play on the fly. I thought what I needed to do to achieve e4, and then just try to play a number of quick moves, gain a bit of time, and just, you know, work it out. And well, at the end of the day, I'll just have to guess at some moment that I found the right time and the right piece configuration. So black was playing very quickly. Queen g1, that was my desired move. That queen on g1 protects e3, so I'll be able to play f3, and then I'll be able to play e4. Of course, black's rook is on f6 now, so I can't play f3, so I'm going to have to play rook g3 as well, which I did. King a1, partly to gain time, partly because I was a little bit unsure what I wanted to do with my king on a1 and my bishop on d3. Because when I play f3 and e4, my position gets loose, so I really don't want to allow any tactical operations. I decided in the end that the best place to be would be have my bishop on c2, out of the way, so it's not on the d file when white plays e4 and black plays d takes e4. I also decided that if I could, I'd rather have my rook here, because that would give me the opportunity to sneakily check with the queen on h2 at some stage along that h2 b8 diagonal if the queen moves away. And I also decided that I wanted to have my king on b1, defending my bishop on c2, so my bishop wouldn't be loose. That was what I wanted, I decided. I don't know whether that's 100% correct, but it's not stupid in any case. And of course, what I wanted to manage was, after king c7, I wanted to go f3. That was what I wanted. I wanted to do that when his king was on c7. So black, well, kept on playing quickly, and he gave me e4. Probably wasn't the best for black, I think, to play rook f6, because now e4 is coming with real power. I mean, I'm threatening e5. So d takes e4, f takes e4, rook f4. Again, wasn't too worried about that one. I went rook g4. And I started to think here that things were going to start getting serious. I've got a nice little threat of e5 here. Well, black continued with queen f6. And now something that I'd noticed before really came into play. And that was, after black played queen f3, I had this idea of queen h2 check. And it's a rather awkward one for black. He doesn't want to self-pin himself with something like rook c7. But when he goes king a8, all of a sudden his back rank is very, very weak. Ooh, if only he played a6 as a waiting move instead of playing this king c7, king b8. So in queen h4 here, attacking the rook on e7. If black plays rook d7, then h6 is very, very unpleasant. g8, rook g8. So we went f6, and I played e5. And after a6, I broke with h6. After black took on h6, I went rook f4, queen e3, e takes f6, and I was clearly winning in actual fact. I'm afraid I'm going to stop the game here, partly because the video is too long, partly because I really cannot bear to see what I did with this position afterwards. To have come so far and to have been inspired by a game like Lasker's, and then to mess it up at the end was really quite bad. Although of course my opponent really had a great line in last-ditch defences. I have to say, he really gave it his all. But I think this has sort of shown what you can achieve with this sort of technique. It's all about just understanding one small point in the position that you want to improve. Often it's to do with relative activity of pieces. Maybe an opponent's piece is tying down your piece to defence. If you can relieve that and get a slightly more active piece configuration, suddenly you get pieces free in order to tease out more weaknesses in the opponent's position. And that's what Lasker did beautifully, and that's what I did too here. And what I particularly found interesting was both grandmasters David Kleijn and Rubinstein. They both came up with this waiting manoeuvre, king f7, king g8, or king c7, king b8. And well, in both cases it didn't turn out right. But it's not easy for black to defend such a position. And you choose a waiting move, you choose a structure, and well, it doesn't always work out great. So that was that inspired me an awful lot, and well, I hope it can inspire you too, to grind away those positions, even against strong players.